Hello and welcome to the Golf Course Lawn Show. My name is Ron Henry and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. Now, on your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answers and sometimes I don't. But either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Guys, we are almost, well, we're a third of the way through April, which is kind of insane to say already, right? This year is flying by, lawns are greening up, and it's crazy how much faster time is going by. It just seems like these days. It's been really crazy busy, and it's been a whirlwind season so far. Hopefully, it's only going to get better. I got some things planned for the front lawn, some top dressing, and a few other things that you guys will get to see here in the near future once I get some things scheduled. But overall things are going well. As always, we're coming to you guys live on YouTube as our primary platform. Tonight, you can get us also on Instagram and Twitter. There's no Facebook for whatever reason. The feed to Facebook is not working tonight. So if you're on Facebook, sorry, come over to YouTube or get on Instagram. And yeah, as always, if you like supporting the show directly, you can always use our Cash App link, which is conspicuously placed right there on the screen. And that's a way for you to jump to the top of the line. So let's see what we got in the show this evening. Got a couple of questions and some pictures that were sent in ahead of time. This one from Mr. Jose Castle. He says, "Good evening, Ron. Hope all is well. I sent an email about some dead spots in my front yard. Any suggestions?" Dead spots in the front yard, you say? I'm looking at them here. Let me bring them up so everyone else can take a look. I do have those pictures, Jose. And here's the thing, guys. Some of you guys have sent me emails saying that, you've sent pictures in and I haven't gotten them. Like, you can't send pictures that are massive in size. I really think much past 10, 12 megabytes, it's very, very likely that my filter is going to drop it. I mean, you won't get a notification that they didn't go through, but I just won't get the email. So yeah, just when it comes to email pictures, make them, I mean, this is HD, so it doesn't need to be, or it's 4K, it doesn't need to be massive images. So if you just make them a little bit smaller, it'll be easier for me to get through email, and then I'll be able to take a look at what's going on. All right, so Jose, so here's the thing, man. Looking at these pictures is interesting, right? So it looks like there's a tree that's in the center here, and the grass around the tree seems to be doing okay, but then this ring around it seems to be having trouble. Let's see what else you got here. Along the driveway. So, I mean, you're not here to be able to answer my question, but as far as like any traffic or people driving on the driveway, is that ever a thing? It just seems like that area is just taking a little bit longer than the rest of the lawn to fill in for some reason. And a lot of times when I see bare areas right near driveways, the culprit, not always, but oftentimes, is like traffic. The thing that's interesting about that picture, though, is if you look further down, I'm not sure where this is on the right, is up the driveway or down the driveway, but if you look further up, it looks, the grass is doing okay there. But yeah, man, I wonder if it's just wear or traffic, people driving on it, causing the issue. And then our final picture that you sent in, yeah, so another picture underneath that tree. So, I guess, Jose, what is like that channel that you see there, right? That channel that goes, like, flows along the tree and I guess goes towards the streets. Like, I think I remember your lawn. That tree is on the left, almost on the sitting at the street looking at your lawn. I think that tree's on the left side, if memory serves me. If that's the case, then I kind of almost wonder if, like, if whenever you get rain, if that's how, like, water drains through the lawn or what, and that's causing, if like, erosion is causing that area to take longer to fill in. I will say this, right, being positive, is that given where your lawn was before, I remember, like, all that was bare. Like, even this area near where your driveway is, like, all that was bare dirt. And also, again, where you see grass now, this was all pretty much dirt. So it is getting better. I'm just not sure exactly why that area is lagging behind. The third picture you sent in that shows that it's not really a ring around the tree, but really more, it almost looks like if you get a lot of rainfall, if water kind of just follows that path down, it's almost like, it looks like it's the erosion or something that's causing that area just to take longer than the areas around it to fill in. I mean, you haven't you haven't told me about any kind of products you've sprayed, or if you had like an over application in that area or whatnot. But I'm going to kind of point to that probably an erosion issue that's causing it just to take longer for that area to fill in. But again, given where the lawn was before, it's still making good progress. It's just taking its sweet time to fully come in. And honestly, the color of the turf grass, where you do have grass, actually looks pretty nice. You know what I mean? That grass looks, the color and everything looks really nice there. It's just taking its sweet time to fill in. So I don't have like a smoking gun for you as far as like, yeah, it's definitely this. There's definitely progress compared to last year when we first started looking over your lawn. So I say let's just give it some more time. The good news is that it's still relatively early in the season. So as far as you having time for the lawn to, to make a lot of strides, you still got plenty of time to do that. I mean, you got warm season grass. We're still only in early April. I imagine a month from now it should be looking a lot better if you you just stick with your program, keep mowing it, just keep taking care of it. So hope that helps. Again, sorry I don't have a smoking gun for you, but hopefully that gives you some, I guess some assurance that at least you're on the right path, because the lawn does look a lot better again compared to this time last year when I think you first started sending me pictures of it. All right. Okay, next up is Vince Boro. He says, hey, Ron, I'll be a little late to the show, but always happy to be part of it. Well, you're here, so glad that you took the time to stop in and say hello. Appreciate that, as always. And next up, we got Cedric in the house. Big Ceddy, he says, what's up, Big Ron? I'm back in Moti. What is Moti? Hang on, I probably should Google that. I'm not sure what Moti is. I don't know what that is, but at any rate, glad that you're back. It says an Indu or Urdu word for pearl, so it's probably not the stuff. Probably not what she meant. But at any rate, glad that you're back, Cedric. Hope all is going well. And then we got Mr. Scott Smith saying, "Good, beautiful evening, everybody." Go hit that like button real quick. Most definitely, Scott. Thanks so much for the kind words and for coming by to say hello. Got Mr. Robert Rainey in the live stream saying, good evening. What's going on, Robert? Hopefully you are doing well. Hopefully you're doing all right. I know you're doing some, last time we not spoke, but you sent some correspondence and you're doing some fencing or whatever. So hopefully that's coming along pretty well. And then Cedric, he says, I'm back in the mix with a live stream, geared up for the new season, turfs up, fert down, stripe action forever. I appreciate that. Cedric, it's very, very kind of you. Thanks. Glad to hear that you're back in it. And it's funny, April is really the month where both you start seeing a big upsurge in folks really paying attention to their lawns. Both the warm season folks have been kind of chomping at the bit for a while, but even folks with cool season lawns are now also beginning to pay attention to their lawns, because you guys tend to be a month or so behind us, maybe 6 weeks behind us, depending on where you are. So across the nation, lawns are beginning to come out of dormancy and just start living their best life. So the interest in lawn care is definitely going up quite a bit here now in the month of April. All right, next up we got Dan Taylor. Says, good evening, Ron. I am planning on spraying a Celloprint on our lawn tomorrow and wanted to know which spray nozzle I should use. Thanks. Great question, Dan. Let me see if I've got one here. I do. So when it comes to spraying a Celloprint, most like whenever you're spraying most fungicides or you're spraying pre-emergent, you want the product to get into the soil to be able to work, right? The idea is that it's gonna go after soil insects that are in the soil that didn't damage our lawn. So for that reason, you're going to want a larger droplet size. So what I would recommend as far as spray nozzles would be the large one, the flood jet nozzle. So there's two spray nozzles that I primarily use on my lawn. The red, which is for foliar sprays, so it's a finer droplet. This is good for your for most post-emergent herbicides, liquid fertilizer, plant growth regulator, and so on. And then for pre-emergent fungicides, insecticides, like what you're going to do a Celloprint, where you want a larger droplet size, that is where the flood jet tip, the C-jet flood jet tip makes a lot of sense. If you don't have one, let me get a link for you in case someone else also is like, hey man, I need me one of those. So let me find one really quick. The good news is they're not expensive. I think last time I checked, they're like $10, maybe. Flood jet. Look at that. It's in my history on Amazon. I searched it so much, like, you probably want one of these because you always ask about it. Yeah, so it's a whole $8.62. So if you're looking for a flood jet nozzle, you're trying to put your insecticide out, this is what you'll want to go with here. So flood jet nozzle. There you go. All right, not too expensive. Great investment in your lawn care program. All right, next up we got Devin in the house. He says, what's up, Ron? Looking forward to some good turf talk. Finished the course aeration this week. So really cool to share some stuff to share soon. Very nice. Yeah, man. So make sure you get a lot of stuff, make sure to make it a good show and tell of the course. Folks always like to hear about, professional turf care as far as like, golf courses, sports fields, that kind of thing. And you always have show off some pretty cool equipment and as well as pretty cool processes. So yeah, whenever you want to get back on the show, be definitely let me know, and be sure you mask your pictures in the process. All right, next up is Sheedmatic. He says, is May the best time to level Bermuda in Dallas-Fort Worth? It's a great question. So really the best time to level Bermuda is whenever it's actively growing. So I tell folks, if you're mowing your lawn regularly, so if you got to get out there at least once a week and mow your lawn, then you're probably in a position where you can level it. So if it's largely greened up, it's green all the way across, and you're regularly mowing, if you want to go ahead and do your top dressing, that would be fine. In general, I tell folks, yeah, the month of May, like mid to late April and then into May, is a good time to go out and do your leveling work on warm season turfgrass. Mainly because the heat that you have, more sunlight, like the amount of daylight we have is longer. You pair that with also the rain that we tend to get in the springtime. All of that makes a really good combination for helping the lawn recover faster after it's been leveled or top dressed. All right. So yes, to answer, I say long-winded answer to say yes. May is a great time in Fort Worth. You guys are probably hotter there now than we are here in Georgia. So yeah, if you waited till 3 more weeks until the end of April, early May, you should be good to go. Now, you didn't ask this Sheedmatic, but what I would highly recommend is if you can get your hands on it, get yourself a blend of sand and compost. So I like a 70-30 mix. That does a good job of balancing, does a good job of balancing the adding structure. So as far as like the reason why a lot of people do it, right, getting rid of the bumps in your lawn and having that actually persist. And then also that 30% is going to help add additional organic material to your soil, which is a good thing for residential lawns. For golf courses, you'll see they don't typically do that. Like if you ask Devin, whenever they're top dressing greens, it's just 100% sand, largely because they are trying to maximize drainage, dilute the organic material in the lawn, and in the green is a different process or different goal than what we have on residential lawns. So if you can get a 70-30 mix, that is what I would go for. If you can't get it, what you can do is you could also put out like a heavy application of a granular biostimulant like carbonized PNG and then use the sand on top of it. But yeah, man, you should be good to go for May. Have fun. As far as the amount of material that I'd recommend, if you can limit it to 1 cubic yard per 1,000 square feet, for most lawns, that works out to anywhere between 1/4 inch to up to 1/2 inch of material, which is good because, that's not so much that the lawn is going to have a difficult time growing through it. And it's also, if you have any heavy rains, which in Texas, it's either it's flooding or it's dry, right? So if you guys have any heavy rains, limiting the amount of material that you put down in any one area to around 1/2 inch is going to minimize the sand really moving around. So if you go much heavier than that, you don't really have the grass holding onto it. So it tends to kind of move around and it just makes a bit of a mess. And wet sand is really difficult to put back where you originally had it. So 1 cubic yard per 1,000 square feet is what I'd recommend. May is a great time to do it. Have fun. Send us pictures. Hopefully it all goes well for you. All right, we have Real Rollers in the house. What's going on, guys? Got folks from Real Rollers saying, happy Friday, Ron. Excited for the show. Thanks, man. Thanks for popping by. I'm not sure who's on this. Is this just Lee or is this Hayes? It's probably one of the folks on the team. I actually went by there, by Real Rollers yesterday. A viewer that was visiting the Atlanta area was saying, hey, man, I'll be by Real Rollers. I'm like, yeah, Real Rollers isn't that far from me, so I'll stop by, say hey, put a name with the face and vice versa. So it was kind of cool. But yeah, guys, one thing, with Real Rollers, if you guys don't know, on not this Saturday, but next Saturday, which is the 18th. The 18th, they're having their turf park party. I will not be there. I have a martial arts event that I can't really get out of. So, just way things work out, unfortunately. But you guys should definitely go support it. I was by the turf, by the shop. And I gotta tell you, they've done like a lot of work, like at least put some pavement in. They got like a nice area where they're gonna have the mowers showcase. It's just, and the turf is looking good. Like the Bermuda's looking good, Zoy's looking good. Here's the thing, guys. I tell you, the Bermuda, out of the three, Bermuda's actually looking the best right now, in my opinion. Granted, I'm a little bit biased, but the Bermuda is looking spectacular. So definitely worth stopping by. I'm not sure what all festivities they're gonna have. Normally there's some cornhole going on. You get to demo a ton of equipment. Again, the new updates they've done to the turf park have been really nice. So again, it's worth a couple hours of your time to just hang out and you know, help support the folks at Real Rollers. They do a lot for the community, and you know, again, I was by there yesterday, and the place already looks really good. So next Saturday, the 18th, is when the turf park party is. All right, so definitely go support that. All right, next up we got Sheldon M in the live stream. He says, "Hey Ron, I have plans this spring like the rest of us here. In which order should I apply? Split application of pre-emergent, level, and fertilize the lawn. I'm in the Northeast. Thanks." Okay, so you say split application of pre-emergent. I am assuming you've already applied pre-emergent, like you've done at least one, like the first half of the split application. So if you've done that already, great. And if you're going to do your second one, if it's been a couple of months and you want to do your second application, that would be fine too. What I might say is this, right? If you are planning on leveling in the near future, what you might do, say you're going to level this month, which would not be out, you know, that would not be outside the realm of what a lot of folks will do with cool season turf grass. So say you can do this month. What I might do is go ahead and do your aeration. The order I would do is this: I would aerate, I would apply fertilizer, and then I would do your top dressing, whatever sand or whatever material you happen to use. Again, 70-30 mix, I think, in my opinion, is the best way to go. You got to use what you can get your hands on. And then after that, you can go and apply your pre-emergent, right? So literally you could do all of that literally on the same weekend and just do your pre-emergent last, because since you're doing like a split app, I'm assuming you're doing that because you want to extend the coverage that you get, or the longevity you get out of your pre-emergent. So since you're going to be leveling anyway, and if you're doing it right, aeration is part of that process, I would just hold off and do the pre-emergent after you do all that other stuff. So aerate, again, so the order is aerate, fertilize after aeration. Reason being, you go and you aerate, you pull plugs, the soil is opened up, the lawn's opened up, great time for it to receive granular biostimulants or receive granular fertilizer. So apply that. You're fast tracking the fertilizer into the soil. Then you can do your light top dressing, again, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch of material. And then, you know, the same day or the following day, if you want to go out and apply your pre-emergent, then you're good to go. Why I leave the pre-emergent application for last is, you know, anything that you do as far as like aeration in particular is going to disturb that pre-emergent barrier. So if you're going to be doing it anyway, like you're putting them all in around the same period of time, do the pre-emergent last. You're just going to get more out of it by going that route. All right. So hope that helps, Sheldon. Sounds like a fun project. Take pictures. You know, the before, the during, and after are always fun. But if you just want to do before and after, I get it. Sometimes when you get into a top dressing project, you just kind of want it to be over, and you don't want to actually stop to take pictures. So I get it. But hopefully that is helpful for you. Again, I would aerate, fertilize, then you do your leveling, and then finally the last thing would be pre-emergent. All right, next up we have Hail Demon. He says, when planning to seed Bermuda, I have started fertilizer. Should I put out the fertilizer days before or when I apply the seed? I've already put down carbonized PNG. It doesn't really matter that much. A lot of folks would like to lead you to believe that like the timing really matters, or time. If you do it within a week or so, it's going to be fine, man. You can, I will tell you, like whenever I did my sodding, which I know is not seed, I did it the day before. I did all that. I did my carbonized PNG, I did the fungicide, and I did the fertilizer the day before. So if you want to do it at the same time you put the grass seed out, that's fine. If you want to do it before, a few days before then, that's also fine too. Either way will work. It really is not going to make that much of a difference. With you doing Bermuda grass seed, or you're planning to seed Bermuda, what you're going to want, you didn't ask this, but as far as soil temperatures, you're going to want the soil temperatures to be in the mid 60s and trending warmer, right? You don't want to have any cold snaps really coming in when you're trying to grow Bermuda grass from seed. So in Georgia, that normally equates to late April. I mean, there's some days where the soil temps are in the mid 60s already now, but I'm talking about where it's going to be consistently there. If you wait till, you know, a few more weeks till like till late April, that's going to be a better bet as far as just getting good germination when it comes to Bermuda grass. So hope that helps. I'm Hail Demon. On the topic of Bermuda grass seed, I'm going to be growing some of the new grass seed that we have from the cool folks at My Soil. I'll share it with you guys. You go to shop, and then where is it? Soil test kits and grass seed. This is it right here. The premium. So here's the thing, guys. Now, before I had the ryegrass and the fescue first and foremost, but you know what? We got to put respect on Bermuda. We got to make sure the order is correct. So Bermuda is listed first, and then the cool season grass is listed afterwards. Not that the cool season grass doesn't matter, but you know, Bermuda is the new hotness. So this is the new grass seed that we have. I'm gonna be growing some of it this month here in the near future. I'm gonna get a big planter from one of the big box stores, and we'll be putting that out. So I've got a couple bags of it. Actually, you guys want to see it? I'll a second. Just don't go anywhere. All right. So not just a picture on the store. It's the actual bag, actual product, right? So a 5-pound bag's gonna be plenty for like a planter. I'm not gonna use like only a fraction of this, but this is it, man. The elite Bermuda grass seed, and like from the cool folks at Nozzle. It should be pretty cool. So I'm really looking forward to growing this. It's supposed to germinate pretty quickly, supposedly faster than like Arden 15, which was like 9-10 days, right? So this is the new thing. Very proud of this. You guys always ask about new things coming out this year. Here you go, right? If you want to play the game on hardwood, you want to grow Bermuda grass from seed, there you go. We've got an option for you, and I'm going to be growing some here in a planter in the back here in the near future. So stay tuned for that. All right, cool. Next up, we have Kyle Walker 4667. He says, Ron recently moved into a bigger house. Congratulations, with about 20,000 square feet. Bless your heart. I sure hope you got some powered equipment. That's a lot to mow. Irrigation installed yesterday, so I'm ready to go. Upgraded my Revolution 2026. That's actually a very good decision for 20,000 square feet. 20-inch bit is not quite enough to get that done. Weeds everywhere, and applied certainty in Celsius. Man, any questions? You said, let me see here. Any advice on larger lawns? It's going to take longer to mow it. But here's the thing. If it's 20,000 square feet, I'll tell you, I can do my front and back lawn in about 40 minutes. It doesn't take that much time just to mow it. You will and that's around just under 12,000 square feet, like 11.5. So I would budget, depending on how flat your lawn is and how many obstacles you have to go around. Like I don't have too many obstacles to get around. So if you're fairly open, I'd budget like 2 hours to mow it, edge, all that kind of stuff. So it's just going to take more time. That you made a good decision going to the Revolution. The 26-inch is a much better choice for a property that size. And other advice I'd give you, you're using Celsius Uncertainty to clean up the weeds. Great choice. 20,000 square feet is a lot. So if you have not considered it, I would absolutely look into adding plant growth regulator as part of your program. So what I use on my lawn is, if you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, and then lawn fertilizer, you will see a new EZ. So this is the PGR that I use combined with Primo Max. That combination of those two growth regulators will do a lot for slowing down how quickly the lawn grows, which is just going to make it easier to really maintain it at a high level. Right now it's not bad because it's not too hot. Grass isn't growing, too aggressively. But once you get, because I'm assuming you got Bermuda grass or zoysia, because you said Celsius Uncertainty, so it's got to be warm season grass. I hope. Otherwise, you're gonna have a bad day. So long and short of it is when we get into like May, it's really gonna take off as far as how quickly it's growing, and the time to really start introducing plant growth regulator to any grass was now. Now's a great time to do that. So if I could give you some advice, that would be it. Like looking at adding PGR to your program. Mow regularly. So when I say regularly, I know it's 20,000 square feet, so it's a lot, but at least once a week if you really want to have a good stand of turf grass. I know that's a lot, given you have 20,000 square feet. But that's the thing that's really going to tie it together. I mean, if you go and look at like a lot of the programs that we have, like if you go and look at under resources, lawn care schedule, and the fertilizers that we recommend. So like, you take the carbonized PNG, you take the, let me see this where you can actually see it. Yep. So you take for April, I'll move my face out of the way. All right. So for April, you see the first thing listed is consistent mowing, because that's the cornerstone of really having a great stand of turf grass. So get your mowing done. apply a quality fertilizer like our Humic Max 1608, 3 pounds per thousand, I think is a good rate. Biostimulant and our carbon kit. So this, as far as fertilization, there's really not a ton that really takes to really have a great stand of turf grass, but the mowing is the thing that's really going to really help it stand out, right? Because you said you're fighting weeds, or you're currently dealing with some weed pressure. Once you use Celsius and Certainty to knock the weeds back, which is a good choice, you growing a healthy lawn is like natural weed control, because it's a constant competition, right? Like, weeds are trying to germinate and make a big mess of your lawn, and the grass is trying to grow and also like be the dominant plant in the yard. So the more you are able to mow it, feed it, keep it healthy, you're just making it a lot more difficult for weeds to reestablish themselves in your lawn. So I can't really stress mowing enough. You got some great equipment to be able to do it. But the thing that's going to make that easier to live with as the season progresses is using some plant growth regulator. All right. So would highly recommend that. The combination of a new Easy and Primo is an excellent one. Highly would recommend that. And then, yeah, hopefully that helps you with your process. Congrats on the new lawn, on the new house. And I'm trying to find, I have a blog post on growth regulator. Let me see here. Golf course lawn growth regulation. So this, yeah, here we go. There we go. Cool. So this blog post, which I'll link to you here, is talks about it hails about all the benefits, all the things that are amazing about using plant growth regulators in your lawn care program. So this guy, how plant growth regulation can make your lawn thicker and greener. Again, talks about the same growth regulators that I just mentioned. It tells you what they are, talks about Primo, talks about the new Easy, and gives the rates that I like to use for doing a split application program. That's all explained in this blog post. It's really not that long to read. I would highly consider looking at that as part of as part of what you're going to be doing this year on your lawn care program. All right, so PGR. I'll just do this. PGR is plant growth regulator blog, or I'll just say tips. People are like, blog? I don't want to read a blog. I want tips, man. So there you go. So read that. Hopefully that helps. Again, congratulations on the new property, and hopefully that is helpful for you. All right, next up is Tutrilla from Manila. Not really, but I will continue to say it. I've been saying it for this long. I can't stop now. He's, hey, Ron, and happy Friday, everyone. Big plans for the lawn this weekend. I plan to extend the flower bed as well as the lawn and surrounding area. The top dressing at the end of the month. Next now is just mowing. So you're doing flower bed work. Tell me more. I keep hearing that folks, don't just have only mulch in their beds like I do, but I mean, I guess you can actually grow other things in there. I've heard about this. It's just not something that I have personally, partaken of. So you have to send me pictures of this flower bed thing that you speak of. All right. All right. Next up is Kyle Walker. Says coming from 1,600 to almost 21,000 square. What, bro? That's a lot, man. Okay, so yeah, so the 1,600 square feet, the 20-inch mower makes a lot of sense. 21,000 square feet, like a 26-inch mower is like the minimum. Like that's the smallest you can absolutely go. If you can go bigger, that would be even better. But 26-inch is legit. Let me see. Scott Smith sent me some pictures here of the lawn. Ooh, nice, cool. It's coming in nicely, man. Cool. Let me save these pictures and I will get them on the show here in a second, Scott. And download all and save. Someday when I grow up, I'll have like a producer. I'll have someone that can just like go and just do the stuff for me in the background. I can like get the email and put them in a folder for me. I can just go click and send them up. But now I got to do it all myself, right? All right. So next up, we got Mr. David Bloomfield. Just hit the like button, guys. What's going on, David? Hopefully you are doing well, sir. David, I think you sent me an email. I think I answered your question because you emailed me, but I never got the pictures that you sent. So if you want to try sending them again, but just making the image size smaller, that can work. Or if you can, like, I don't know, maybe upload them to a Google Drive or something and send me the link to it and I can just resize them. It may not happen tonight, but I mean, if you really want me to take a look at the pictures and let other people see your lawn or whatever it happens to be, I'm happy to do that. But just my email system is like, whatever you sent was probably too big, is what I'm guessing. All right. Okay, next up we have Sheldon M. He says, I have a second question. Sheldon, you already asked one question. You want a second question too? I mean, there's other folks here too, you know. All right, anyway. He says, I want to grow grass in an area where the tree roots are exposed. Probably not going to happen, but we'll go on. Is there a method to my madness to grow grass in a troubled area? Not, it's never going to do well. I mean, even if you can get it to grow, to germinate, it's just never going to look, it's never going to be great, Sheldon. So trees being a really big plant, they are just, you know, they're also trying to consume resources and water and, you know, the food that's in the soil, and just you start putting grass around it, especially one where the roots are like have broken through the surface. One thing about it, even if you could grow grass there, like mowing it's going to be kind of sketchy, right? You don't want to run your mower over tree roots. That's bad news. So you can try it if you want to, but I would temper expectations that it's not going to look great. I would just say that it's just not. You're kind of fighting. I would say fighting a losing battle, but in many ways you kind of are. So give it a shot. But it's not, if your goal is to have the grass right up to the tree look as, based on what you're describing anyway, look as nice as grass is out in an open area in the lawn, that's probably not going to happen. So as long as you're just using it as an experiment, you're just going to see what happens. That would be okay. All right. So just I don't want to give you a bunch of like false hope that, hey, this is going to be, you know, this is going to be a good thing. In other words, I won't put too much money into it unless you got just cash to burn and just don't really care and you just want to see anyway. I wouldn't go too hard and heavy on investing in that. All right, so Scott Smith sent us some pictures of his lawn. He just got through mowing. These are much better pictures than last week, man. It's earlier in the day. His lawn is still coming out of dormancy, but overall, I have to say, not bad. And the thing you have to put respect on Scott's name is he is keeping up with his mowing. That's the thing that I always look at. Anytime someone like sends me pictures and say, "Oh man, my lawn's struggling, and I don't understand why, and it could look better," and here's the thing, like I'm the guy that really enjoys mowing his lawn. I mow a whole lot, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I mow all the time." I'm like, man, come on. Like I'm looking at the weeds in your lawn, and they're living their best life. That lawn has not been mowed. I mean, I'll be nice, in the last 2 weeks. So, you know, we have different definitions of mowing, but not Scott. He is on his game. Lawn is looking tight. And again, once we have some more time, light, and temperature, it's gonna do well. So thanks for sending the picture, Scott. I appreciate the update. All right, Mr. Rainey is up next, the man, the myth, the legend. He says, thanks, Ron. Finished the fence project today. 2 coats of stain. Next project is aeration and sand. Nice. I mean, not nice, but nice. I mean, it's one of those things, it never fails. Every time I top dress my lawn, even when I did the zoysia this past year, which can happen again this year, is you always kind of, when the sand gets delivered, you're always like, man, it's going to be awesome. It's going to look great. And, get out there and about 45 minutes, an hour into it, you kind of like, you're like just getting going. You're kind of like, man, this is a lot of work. And this is me just throwing the sand out. I still got to go through and work all this in and kind of get, work the low spots and high spots and whatnot. So it's, I can't say, unless you're using, I guess if you're using like powered equipment, like if you had like a 4-wheeler and you had like a grate that you're just dragging the sand in with, I think in that case, top dressing would be a lot of fun. But when you're doing it really manually, it is less than fun experience for sure. But keep us posted, Robert. I'm sure the lawn's going to come out really nice. Your lawn already looks spectacular, but I get it, man. There's always slight room for improvement. So you want to do a little aeration and sand. I am on board with that. All right, we got Mr. Dan Taylor says, thanks, Ron. I will order. Cool. Thanks so much, Dan. I appreciate that. And then next up is Jez4270. He says, hi, Ron. Would a greens mower work on a slope and a bit uneven lawn? So slope lawns, yes. Uneven, I mean, how uneven are we talking about? I mean, yes, it'll work on a slope lawn. I've got a video showing this slope. Let's see if it will load. Actually, we've got a couple of videos. Like some of the most popular videos for real mowing are them on slope lawns. So first of all, I'll share 2 with you. So here is a Greensmaster 1600 on a sloped lawn. Granted, it's not uneven, it's been leveled, but it's still sloped and probably more sloped than most of your lawns. So Greensmaster on sloped lawn. And then another video I've got here. So the Real Rollers Revolution 26. I think this was actually the first cut. This was like the first my first time like running this guy. And I said, hey, let's see, without me actually even being familiar with the equipment, let's see how it runs on a slope. So this video is all about that. So real rollers, I'll call it Revolution 26. 26 on a slope lawn. And it's actually the same slope lawns. You can compare them. You can see like the same lawn, pretty much not the same day, obviously, but like same lawn, same slope, one with the Greensmaster and then one with the Revolution. And there you go, right? There you go. So hopefully that helps you as far as that goes, Jazz. It can work just fine. It just depends on how sloped and how uneven. All right. And Scott says he sent pictures of the lawn this week. Yeah, we just share those, Scott. Thanks so much. And you said you also have I guess this isn't really a flower bed, but I guess it's like a vegetable bed. I don't know what this is. I mean, again, it's not turf grass. So I mean, I have to tell you, the interest is not super. There's maybe some parsley maybe and cabbage and some other green stuff that's not turf grass, but it's okay. It looks nice. I mean, I get it. It's green. It's green. I can see the attraction, the appeal of that. I mean, here's the thing. I probably need to broaden my horizons. My thing is just all about grass, and there's other things that are green that also are worth consideration, I guess, right? One day, just not today. All right, next up is Sheetmatic. He says, any recommendations for leveling high spots? Okay, so you put less sand on. Again, depends on how high we're talking about here. If you have an area of the lawn that is noticeably higher than others, and what I would probably do is not put a bunch of sand there. Really, the areas leading up to it is where you focus on a lot of your top dressing, because what you're trying to do in a lot of cases, right? Not necessarily to make the lawn like flat like a pool table. I mean, that some people are able to accomplish that depending on their property, but in most cases, what you're trying to do is get rid of like harsh dips and rises. So if you're using a mower, the mower can kind of like flow over any uneven, like not necessarily unevenness, but like it can kind of follow contours without scalping, if that makes sense. So if you got a high spot, what I would do is level the areas around said high spot. That would take more material than on top of the high spot. Again, depends on how much of a peak we're talking about here. If it's like very pronounced, you may have to cut the sod, pull some like dirt out, and then and lay it back down, depending on how bad it is. I don't know how high the high spots you're mentioning are. But if it's something that's gradual, the areas around it is where I would focus a lot of my top dressing efforts, and for the most part, not try and build up the high spot any more than it already is. That's how I would go about it. All right, Sheetmatic. But again, without seeing pictures of it, it's hard to say exactly the best course of action. But just I'm giving you like some more I'd say general advice that assumes a high spot that's not extreme. All right. All right, E.W. Williams 026 says, hey, Ron, when lawn treatments start after new bluegrass sod has been laid, and what type of lawn program would you recommend? Okay, so you're asking, so when would you start fertilizing a new lawn, and what would I recommend? So 30 days afterwards, so a month after you've applied it, you initially put the lawn in, begin feeding it, and this is assuming you also fed it like when the sod was going in. So when you install the sod, I imagine you fertilized, or whoever installed it fertilized, but then 30 days later, you can definitely feed it again. And as far as the program, I would just follow the same program that we recommend for lawns that are established. It's not like if you look at the golf course lawn program, we don't push a ton of, or I'm not a fan of pushing a ton of nitrogen, trying to force a lot of growth in the lawn. So even if you stuck with, half a pound, 0.6 of a pound of nitrogen every month, which you can easily get from a granular liquid program, that's going to work well for the Kentucky bluegrass sod. So that's what I would say. I'd say 30 days later, you can begin feeding it again if you want to. One of the best things you can do for a new lawn, believe it or not, once it's tacked down, it's rooted in, is begin mowing it. Like if you mow it, it's going to help the lawn to establish that much faster. So yes, fertilization. I mean, if you want some good options here, if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to Shop and Lawn Fertilizer. If you just wanted like a simple program, you could do Humic Max 1608, this guy right here, this fertilizer. And then with that, you could pair our 22-3 liquid fertilizer. So between these two, that and that, you're going to be in a really good spot to do a a very basic spoon feeding program. I lay all this out in a video that I filmed last year, talking about different combinations of fertilizer that you can use, but depending on how much money you want to spend and how much time you have and just how far you want to take this. So this is worth consideration, EW Williams, as far as fertilization options. All right. And one of them is going to be what I just told you. Like the most basic one is what I just said, like, granular fertilizer and like our 22-3. All right. So hopefully that helps, sir. Congrats on the new, I don't know, just go, sir, it might not be a guy. Well, congrats, guy or girl, congrats on the new lawn. And if you need anything else, let me know. Arshid Matic is up next. He says, what are the downsides of using beyond the recommended amounts of insecticides and fungicides? Thinking I could use an app every month. Yes, you don't want to do that. So the negatives are you're just putting more of the product into the soil than you really need to. I mean, you can, like, it's like anything else. If you drink, a few 8 glasses of water every day, that's pretty good. It's healthy for you. If you drank like 10 gallons of water every day, not good for you, right? So a couple of things is, one, you are using the product incorrectly. You're not following the label, which is you're not good. I mean, it's actually against the law to do that. And then if you apply fungicides every single month, really that is something that golf courses really do on greens. And the way they're able to get by with that is they have to rotate the fungicides they use. If you're using the same fungicide every month, and you're doing it every single month, what you'll find is that you can run into issues where certain pathogens start getting resistance, and the fungicides don't work anymore. So one, it's not necessary. Two, you're going to be putting too much of the product into the soil, more than what's recommended per the label, per the guidance of the manufacturer. So you just really don't want to do that. And you're also just wasting money. So if you're using a quality insecticide, something like a Celiprin, you'd apply it now and you'd apply it again in late July, early August. That's going to be just fine. You're not getting anything more by applying more of it, other than just wasting money and overusing the product. When it comes to fungicides, especially for highly maintained turf, and by highly maintained turf, I mean lawns that are being reel mowed or lawns that are being rotary mowed, a couple times per week, where you're really trying to keep that lawn as pristine as possible. The downside to mowing that frequently is that you are injuring the grass more often. So the opportunity for disease problems to occur does go up. So if you look at the time of year when a lot of this tends to happen, so whenever we're starting to have more rain, like in the late spring, and we're starting to get more temperature, so it's wet, and we're starting to get a bit more temperature, that's when you can start running into issues with large patch and other diseases in your lawn. It can happen sooner in the season, but in general, that's when it tends to happen is in the late spring, which is why in our calendar, what we recommend, if you go to resources and the lawn care schedule, we recommend like preventative fungicide apps, one in May and then one in June. So if you do an initial application of Headway or Pillar SC in May, and then you do another one in June, that's it. You're good. You know what I mean? Keep your equipment sharp. And then the next time you need to revisit fungicides isn't until the late fall, October and November, right? So it's for a residential lawn, if you're keeping your equipment sharp, if you're cutting your lawn regularly with sharp equipment, preventative fungicide apps are really all you really should need. You should not need to apply fungicide every single month. The reason why golf greens they pretty much have to do it every 3 to 4 weeks is, like, you're talking about highly stressed turf. It's mowed every day. If they're having a tournament, sometimes twice a day. It's being cut at very low heights. So overall, you're talking about turf that's just a lot more stress, a lot more susceptible to diseases. So they have to have a fungicide program as part of what they're doing to keep the turf healthy. That's not you. Like a residential lawn, you're not doing that. So again, preventative app, May, June, and then another one in the fall is going to be a good balance of balancing cost, and you're not going to be overusing the product. All right. So hope that helps, Sheetmatic. I wouldn't overdo it, and hopefully I've convinced you that it's not worth it for many reasons, economic and also just really just unnecessary, right? Okay, next up we have Mr. Hayes. He says, hello, Ron and all. Just feeding the fescue, cutting frequently, and washing it thicken up. It says it's pretty simple, man. It's a pretty simple program. Once you you mow your lawn regularly, it's pretty tough to not have a great looking stand of turf grass. You know what I mean? Mowing is a big thing. Okay, and EW already answered that question. And then South Boogie says, hey, Ron, what's going on? And then we have Nick Wren. He says, my brother and I plan to top dress our lawns. I am at 3/4 of an inch, but he is at 2.5 to 3 inches and is hesitant to go lower. Okay. Do you have any recommendations to make it an easier process? Higher ratio of sand, maybe? No, I would not add more sand. I mean, I will tell you, trying to top dress, I don't know what kind of lawn you have, but trying to top dress a lawn that's 3 inches tall is going to be a nightmare. It's not going to be a fun process. So, I mean, if he really doesn't want to cut it shorter, I mean, you can. It's just going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more work to more evenly distribute the material. I'll say, if you're going to be top dressing a 2.5 to 3 inch lawn, I would not dump the material, the sand out in like piles and then spread it out. You're definitely going to want to use like a casting method. So have like the sand in a wheelbarrow or, on something, and then take it and like throw it to where it kind of is dispersed and falls into the canopy. I mean, I wouldn't, because I'll tell you, like if you start getting any kind of high areas, it's going to be a colossal pain to work a leveling rake through 2.5 to 3 inch grass. That's just not going to be fun. It's going to be really, really difficult to do that. Your lawn at 3/4 of an inch, not that big a deal. It's going to be just fine. But you're going to really want to do a good job getting the material out as evenly as possible when you're throwing it out versus relying on the rake to do a lot of the heavy lifting of like moving stuff around. So that would be my recommendation to make the process easier. Do not do piles on his lawn and then kind of push the piles around and kind of work it in. That is not going to work with 3 inch grass. Definitely like, fill up a wheelbarrow, take a shovel, and literally throw the material. Like it'll spread out, and it'll be almost like if you're using like a top dressing machine, but you're just using a shovel. Like you're the machine that's doing it. All right. That would be my recommendation, Nick. That's going to make the process as least painful as possible, given that he has 2.5 to 3 inches and he does not want to go shorter. All right. Hopefully that is useful. Maybe when he sees your lawn and sees how nice it looks when it's all top dressed, he might think, yeah, maybe I could go down to 1.5 inches. Even 1.5 inches would be a lot easier. 3 inches is going to be a nightmare. So best of luck. Hopefully that helps. All right, Arthur Benjamin is up next. He says, hey, Ron, we moved to Southern Virginia, from Southern Virginia to Michigan. I prefer cold over heat. Thanks for all your knowledge. I left my Xeon Zoysia in great condition for the new owner. Thanks again. Very, very cool. So you prefer cold weather. Michigan is definitely a better choice than Virginia, and I'm glad to hear that the Xeon was left in good shape. Hopefully the new owner takes care of it as you did. It's not always the case. So hopefully you got some instructions, let them know what your process is, and you should be good to go. Next up is Aaron Surrett. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. One day I want a proper reel mower, but for now I'll keep my push reel mower. Sharpening is the same cost as a new one. Any recommendations? What's the difference in number of blades? So for a manual push reel mower, most of them are 5-blade. I believe Scott's makes one that's a 7-blade. So you will get a better cut with a 7-blade push reel mower than you will with a 5-blade. That's the biggest difference. But yeah, I mean, you can, I would say this too, man, but if you like how your mower's cutting, you could stick with that as well. I would probably sharpen the mower. I don't know that I would treat a manual pusher mower as a throwaway. Like, when it's not sharp anymore, throw it out and buy a new one. I mean, I get it that sharpening it, like, you're probably not too far off on cost, but it just seems like super wasteful to throw away a mower every time you want to sharpen the blades. So it's neither here nor there. But yeah, a 7-blade, which to my knowledge, I mean, outside of the greens push mowers, right? Like the one, I forget the name of the company that makes it. The ones that are like $2,000. Then there's 5-blade and there's a 7-blade. And the 7-blade, again, I want to say it's a Scott's 18-inch. Like that one wasn't a thing when I had my push reel mower. So you might want to try that out. If you want to try like a higher blade count, see if you like the cut quality better. It's not going to be a super expensive experiment. All right. We got Seti here, says, Big Ron, is your Bermuda seed, I didn't hear what he said. Is your Bermuda seed more reflective of a hybrid or common Bermuda? So Palmia is a fine leaf blade, so it's going to be more reflective of a hybrid. So again, I'm going to be growing it. You guys are going to be able to see for yourself, but it's supposed to be more along the lines of a high or of a finer leaf versus what you would see from like Yukon or Monaco. Not that anything wrong with Yukon or Monaco, but like this, like Palmia is a finer leaf blade. All right, but again, you guys will be able to see for yourself here in the not too distant future. All right. Next up, and again, the reason for that, Cedric, is there's tons of options out there already for common Bermuda with like thicker blades and lighter colors. So if I'm going to talk about really talk about a Bermuda grass seed, and especially one that we're going to start carrying, I want it to be one that's going to be along the lines of what Arden 15 and what Princess 77 did, right? Because I mean, those are Bermuda grasses grown from seed that that in many ways behave like hybrids. You know what I mean? They're very fine leaf blades, great, like really good cold tolerance, early green up, late dormancy. I mean, just like it was really good grass. The negatives for those grasses, and I got the story when I was down in Georgia or at UGA at the turfgrass conference. The reason why Arden 15 was discontinued is yield. Was the amount of viable seed that it would produce just wasn't enough for them to be able to continue selling it. So that was the reasoning behind it. There wasn't any other problem. I guess it's kind of a big problem if you're in the business of selling grass seed. But as far as like complaints from owners or anything like that, there were no issues really with that. It was more of like it producing viable seed. This wasn't producing at the rates that they needed to be able to continue selling the product. So that was why. That's why those two are no longer a thing. This is how I was told. All right, next up we have Nefitz. He says, "Hey Ron, just sent you an email. Working on double wide transition. Two kiddos under 2 and real mowing is going to be fun this season." I don't have any pictures from you, man. I got a picture from It's Me, but I don't think that's you. I think that's I mean, I got another picture here, but this is not. I don't think this is you. Let's see. It's Me's lawn. I have this one, but I'm pretty sure this is not your picture. If it's so yeah. Like I got this picture from a viewer. Again, lawn's looking pretty nice. So if you want to try sending again, it's ron@golfcourselawn.com. Again, great Santa turf grass. And he's showing me a close-up here. You guys want to see a close-up of it? It looks pretty nice. It looks very nice, as a matter of fact. Here's a close-up, and you can already see, guys, the seed heads are starting up. You get your PGR out, get your growth regulator out. This is another great reason to introduce PGR early in the season. It helps suppress seed heads. You look there, right there, front and center. You can see a seed head starting to form. So, but yeah, overall, great sound turf grass. Looks good. Looks good. You can tell it is well loved. All right, Postage 545 says, "Hey Ron, et al. Hope all is well. What about us guys in the north? You have any grass seed recommendations for us wanting to do a rye fescue mix? Thank you." Well, I do. I don't have a single grass seed that is rye and fescue. I've got like a fescue grass seed option, and I've got a Kentucky bluegrass and perennial ryegrass seed option. So if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to shop and go to soil test kits and grass seed. If you scroll past the premium double dark Bermuda grass seed, you will find a couple of options. You got turf type tall fescue, which is a blend of I don't think this is a three-way blend. Yeah, this is three different types of fescue that make this guy up here, and you can find out what's in each one of those. And then for the perennial ryegrass KBG folks, you've got this guy, which this one I believe is the 5-way blend. I think so. I think this one's the 5-way. Yeah. So you got portfolio, perennial rye, Top Gun, and then 2 different KBG. So it's 3 types of perennial ryegrass, and then 2 types of Kentucky bluegrass. So what you could do, Postage 444, is if you really wanted to do, I guess if you have an existing lawn, you can pick one of these to use as an overseed. Personally, I would just do one or the other. Like, I don't know that I would put out like fescue grass seed and Kentucky bluegrass, perennial ryegrass grass seed. I would pick one or the other personally, but I mean, up to you. We've got options for both. So I'll share the link with you here where you can find it here on the Golf Course Lawn Store. All right. So grass seed. You know, we'll even make this, we'll even make it a pinned comment. Why not? Why not? Right. So we'll pin this message to the top so anyone that watches it later can also find that too. All right. Nepa says about 17,000 square feet, but only real mowing 7,000 square feet. See, that's sensible. That's not a bad plan. So what do you do with the rest of it? The other 10,000 you just rotary mow? Huh? Okay. You gotta give us more details. All right. Next up is Gary Kellett Jr. Says, happy Friday. Can you explain the difference between Humic and biochar? So they're both biostimulants. Biochar, think of biochar as like raw biochar. You can think of it almost like charcoal, right? The biochar that we sell in carbonized PNG is charged biochar, meaning it's not going to take away from the soil whenever you put it out. Like the biochar is already inoculated with nutrient, so when you put it into the soil, it's a net giver instead of taker. Humic acid comes from is it lenonite or leononite, however it's said, which again is a biostimulant, helps with nutrient uptake as well. But biochar and humic acid, they're kind of they're not interchangeable. The thing I always think about, the biggest benefit I think about when it comes to biochar is it increases the nutrient holding capability of your soil. So if you go out and you apply fertilizer, a lot of it is lost through leaching. Like it just moves to the soil profile and it just gets lost. In other words, you have fertilizer, but it moves through the soil and the grass can't make use of it. Biochar, by having some biochar in your soil, it helps it to hold on to that, so the grass can make use of your fertilizer. So that's how, in many ways, we're able to get by in our programs with fertilizing less or fertilizing at lower rates, but the grass still looks good, because by using carbonized PNG, which half of that product, or just under half of that product, is biochar, it's any fertilizer that you put out is going to hold on to it and make it available to the grass for longer periods. So they're both biostimulants. They both help improve the quality of your turf grass. You can almost think of biochar as like a bank account for nutrients in your soil, and then humic acid as just it's a biostimulant. It just improves the engine of the soil as far as it making the most of any nutrient that you put into it. So they are not interchangeable. They are both beneficial, but it's not like you can do one in place of the other, if that makes sense. All right. All right, so any of you guys that are on Instagram, we've reached an hour, so that stream has dropped. So you got to come over to YouTube or Twitter. All right. So hope that helps Gary Kellett Jr. Next up is Jose Castle. He says, when is the best time to use soil amendments? Now, like whenever it's actively growing is when you can use them. Jose, I use the same rule when it comes to the same rule that I use for a fertilizer. I use for biostimulants. You can use carbonized PNG year round, pretty much, if you want to, as long as the ground doesn't freeze where you are. But as a general rule for folks that are trying to just, that are I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily budget limited, but just trying to get the biggest bang for their buck, whenever the lawn is actively growing is when you would also want to do your soil amendments, like your biostimulants. All right. Okay. All right. So next up we do Gez 4270. He says, what kind of martial arts do you do, bro? I'm a black belt in kickboxing from Thailand. So it's Tung Sudo, which is it's a Korean martial art. It is a sister to Taekwondo. So they're both, you can think of like Taekwondo, Tung Sudo. They're both Korean. Taekwondo is more, you think it's more focused on sport and competing, and then Tung Sudo is more traditional. So we do we do punches and kicks, obviously, but then also that we do weapons, some throws, that type of thing as well. So they're both Korean in origin, which is also Chinese in origins. If you look at all karate or all martial arts, they kind of, or a lot of them, they go back to, they go to China. But yeah, so it's a Korean martial art called Tung Sudo. And cool, black belt in kickboxing. Very cool. Cool, man. Nice. I'm sure it takes a lot of work to do that. All right, next up is Jose Castle. He says, I'm starting to spoon feed my yard with micronutrient with iron and fertilizer every month. I like it. Good plan. Sounds good. All right, Louis P86 says, "What's up, Ron? I'm in North Carolina, and with temps ready to rise, is it time to push the lawn, especially ants? Start throwing some ant at it. Thanks for all you do." I would begin feeding the lawn like the way I recommend, anywhere between half a pound to 8/10 of a pound of nitrogen. But as far as like when I hear the words push, I start thinking about heavy applications of nitrogen, and I am not a fan of that for a lot of reasons. So if you're talking about, is it time to start fertilizing? Yes, definitely time to start fertilizing. What I would recommend is, anywhere between half a pound to 8/10 of a pound of nitrogen every month, depending on your grass type. That's what I would do. I would not go much past that because you don't really need to. It saves you money. You don't create conditions where you can have thatch problems and disease issues, problems. So just in general, a whole lot. There's a lot more benefit to feeding your lawn the appropriate amount of nutrient versus, going for broke pound and a half, 2 pounds of nitrogen, or broke or nothing, right? I mean, there's folks that will recommend that. I'm not one of them. So hopefully that helps, Louis P. If your lawn is greened up, you're mowing it, it is time to begin feeding it. And if we're saying feed and push the same thing, then yes, you can go ahead and you can push growth in your lawn by feeding it half a pound to 8/10 of a pound of nitrogen per month. That's what I would do. All right. Next up is South Boogie. He says, "Hey Ron, I have an Empire Zoysia lawn. I recently upgraded to Revolution 26. I was cutting at 1 and 3/4. Well, I can't even say it. 1.75 inches with a rotary mower. How should I get the cut to 1 inch? Just slowly work your way down. If you're trying to keep color, just work your way down. Just take several weeks, and each time, or I'd say every other mow, drop the height of cut just a little bit. You know what I mean? The Revolution is kind of nice in that it's not like notched. You can actually, there's a single, I don't know, like a jack screw that you can use to lower or raise the height of cut. So just, each time, I'm trying to think. I think you go out, you back it out, you turn it counterclockwise to lower the height of cut. I think so. Lee, if anyone's watching and I'm saying it wrong, just correct me. But I believe it's you go counterclockwise to lower the height of cut. So, maybe a quarter turn and then go out and mow. And then every other time, just a little quarter turn. So you kind of slowly bring the height of cut down. That way you're going to preserve color and work your way down to the height of cut that you're after, which is 1 inch, which I think, Empire should look really nice at that height. Xeon looks great at well under 1 inch, so I'm sure Empire will look nice at 1 inch. All right, and that's the nice thing about going with 1 inch height of cut is, if you want to only mow once a week, especially with it being Zoysia, you can probably get away with that. So there's benefits to keeping it a little bit taller, taller in real mowing terms anyway, right? Okay, next up we have Darren Proctor. What's going on, Darren? So Darren, I got to actually meet him. He's actually the person I got to meet yesterday. In person, he says, "Hey, Ron and long crew, enjoying Georgia weather this weekend. Hit the like button." I gotta tell you, so how I talk about grass, I and the other folks that were at Real Rollers that were there yesterday asked a couple questions about, grilling. And, if you're watching any of the Food Network, any of those guys are in the barbecue circuit, like he knows all these people. And just talking about, like what grill to use, like what height to set the, your grates to, how to never use, don't ever use lighter fluid in your green egg. And talks about how his grill has it set up to where, it diverts the heat evenly to where you don't really have to turn the meat. You put the meat in it, kind of like it cooks both sides. I mean, it's just like how grass, there's an art and science to it. With grill, I didn't know why I was surprised by it, but I didn't realize that there was that much that went into it. And I'm sure he was only scratching the surface. So he's the guy to talk to when it comes to grass, or just grass, or start to grilling. I'm the guy to talk to about grass. He's the guy to talk to about grilling. Pretty cool. Sheetmatic says, "When you upgrading the chair, Secret Lab Herman Miller?" I don't know. I like this. I like what's wrong with my chair now? I didn't even know that Herman Miller did did they do a collab with Secret Labs? Herman Miller Secret Lab. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is a classic, man. You can't go wrong with the, I think mine is the Arion, or whatever it's called. Secret Lab. I don't know. Do they do one? So a gaming chair. I don't know, man. I don't know if this is really it's not as nice as this one. This is a Batman pajama here, man. This thing is nice, and plus I can sit in it for hours. I added a headrest. It didn't come with a headrest. This is like an aftermarket one, but it matches nicely. I like this chair. I'm not gonna change it. I'm gonna say the Secret Lab, the gaming chair, Herman Miller is more of like a Well, that does look kind of cool, but yeah, I don't play video games that much anymore, so I don't need a gaming chair. I need this. I like my comfy chair. All right, next up is Energy Shift. I have a Cyclone 3 using the red foliar tip. It sprays heavy on the sides, not much in the middle. Any suggestions? Yeah, so it sounds like your spray nozzle is clogged, is what I would imagine. So what you can do is, if you have like a way of like pressurized air, put the so this is your nozzle, like take the nozzle out of the end cap and spray air on it this way. So try and blow whatever debris is in there back through it. So that's probably what's happening. If you have an area where it's spraying, like the middle air is not much, nothing's coming out, but you're just getting some spray only on the sides, you've got some kind of a blockage in there, and you can just you might be able to rinse it out with water or high pressure going in the opposite direction, but air, like compressed air, will probably be the way to knock that out, and then it should be fine. That's what I would I think is going on. All right. Is not what I think. That is what's going on. Because I've had it happen to mine before. And literally, I take it off, and normally I can spray water at high pressure backwards, and it knocks whatever's in there out, and then I'm good to go. So that's what I would recommend. Energy Shift. You likely have some debris in your spray nozzle, and it is causing blockages. And you're gonna want to fix that, because your spray pattern is going to be all kinds of jacked up if you keep running it like that. So I would not. I wouldn't keep running your spray nozzle without fixing the blockage. All right. All right. Next up, we got Claude Thompson. He says, "Hey Ron, Claude here from Connecticut with the cool season lawn." You know, Claude, every year he tells me the same thing. He's like, "Hey man, you got cool season fans too. I'm from Connecticut and we got cool season grass here, but I'm still watching your show, even though you mainly talk about warm season grass. We're still having low temps with frost. Would you suggest I wait until May to apply both Pillar SC and a Aceleprint at the same time? Thanks." Yes, absolutely. If you still got frost, you're still, you're not warming up as quickly as the rest of the country. Yes, another 2.5, 3 weeks, which is the end of April, early May, would be a good time to get your insecticide and initial fungicide app out. I am down with that. Sounds like a good plan to me, Claude. And glad to hear you're doing well, man. I know you've been like a viewer in the live stream for a number of years, so it's always cool whenever the season picks back up. A lot of the familiar faces or familiar like handles come back in and start talking again. So at least you guys are still around, which is kind of cool. But yes, waiting till the end of this month, so late April, early May would be just fine. All right. Next up we got Maxwell Perry. He says, "I found a lot of bent grass in my rye lawn. What do you recommend? Tenacity?" Yeah, Tenacity. If you want to get rid of it, if you tell me that bent grass is a weed, you could use Tenacity. You could use like a 3-way, like Triad. Like I don't believe bent grass. I'm pretty sure bent grass does not tolerate Triad very well. And actually, Triad is probably a better way to go, because Tenacity is also gonna temporarily cause some discoloration to your rye, whereas Triad will not. So given the choice, I would go with this. Again, ryegrass, fescue, Kentucky bluegrass tolerate this just fine. Bent grass, St. Augustine, centipede grass, not so much. So that's what I would do. It may take a couple of rounds of it to knock out the bent grass, Maxwell Perry, but that's a way of keeping, minimizing discoloration and injury to your rye while working the ryegrass out of your lawn. All right. So this is what I would look into. All right. Obviously check the label, but I'm pretty certain that bent grass is is very sensitive to this. It'll kill it. All right. Okay, so next up we have It's Me. He says, "Hey, brother, my lawn looks great. North Texas, I'm already getting seed heads. Isn't it too early? How do I limit it? Sent picture." Yes, so lawn looks great. We did see the pictures you sent. I like it. Looks awesome. And seed heads are a natural thing. It's not too early for seed heads. So seed heads are a stress response from the grass. And since where you said North Texas, you're seeing some higher temperatures now, apparently. And the way to help suppress seed heads is with plant growth regulator. So mowing more frequently is not going to get rid of it. Cutting the grass shorter is not going to get rid of them. If you can use PGR, plant growth regulator, Primo, a new easy, that's going to help suppress the amount of seed heads that you come across in your lawn. So I would absolutely do that. That's what I would do. Right. So there's a blog post that talks all about how to spray it with good results. It's Me. So if you've not seen that, this will help you out here. How to use plant growth regulator. All right. So wait. Oh, it's way too long. I actually I don't want all that. Let's get rid of that. And yes. Okay. Yeah. So take a look at that. Okay. All right. We got Jose. It says, in those dead spots, I have sprayed a Celiprin 4714 and fertilizer micronutrients. I'm going to apply fungicide in this month. Okay, so I would not pepper those areas with like, a bunch of different products. Like I said, if you're spraying those products over the entire lawn, it's fine, but just give it time. Like given where your lawn was last year, you're already making a lot of great progress. I'm fairly confident as the season progresses, those areas are going to get better and better. So it's not like you can really force growth by just throwing stuff at it. Like give it time, keep doing what you're doing, and as long as you're not doing anything that's gonna set yourself back, like you're parking the car on the lawn or a lot of extra wear, like people are walking in that area a lot. If you're just kind of leaving it alone, watering it, mowing it, allowing it to kind of just come in on its own, it should catch up to the rest of the lawn there eventually. All right, let's see here. Sheetmatic, he says, my name and lights, whatever it means to me. Did you send me a Cash App? I don't think so. Let's see. I don't think you did, Sheetmatic. Let me look here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I missed it. Nope, I didn't think so. All right. Oh, you're saying because you're on the live stream. I got it. All right. Maxwell says, I couldn't find too many videos strictly on potassium-based results. I'm deficient, but I didn't want to apply more N or P right now. How's a 0030 bot? That wasn't sure for me. I'm not familiar with the product, but if all you're looking to apply is just potassium, you could do something like that. The thing is, most lawns, especially when they're actively growing, will benefit from nitrogen, right? So that's why like you tend to find you'll find fertilizers that will have N and K. And like that's probably the most common is N and K fertilizers, and then you'll have if you need phosphorus, then you'll have the middle number not be non-zero. So I guess all I'm trying to say is that you're not in general is again, as long as you're sticking to being reasonable with the rates you're applying it at, you're really not going to you're not going to be hurting yourself by going with a fertilizer with some N and some potassium. So if you want to say a higher potassium fertilizer, more of a blended product, then like our 12-024 would be a good choice. That's lower in nitrogen, and also the type of nitrogen that's in it, or the percentage of nitrogen that's in it, is going to be more slower release, and it's got 24% potassium. And in addition, you're getting some humic acid, some kelp, some micronutrients. You're getting more of a complete feeding solution versus just applying just potassium. So what I'm talking about, in case you're interested, if you go to Shop and Lawn Fertilizer, this guy right here. So for lawn that needs potassium, this is what I would go with. Because again, you're not just getting potassium, you're getting some N, and as well as a bunch of other nutrient as well. Okay. So hope that helps, sir. So okay, next up we have, actually we did get a Cash App. This one is from Sheetmatic. He's like, I want my name in the show sponsors section, sir. All right, so here we go. Sheetmatic, thank you for the Cash App. Sheetmatic. All right, so there you go, sir. Your name in lights for whatever it means to you. Appreciate all the love and support. All right. Next up, we have Noel Manza. Noel Manza. He says, salutations, Ron. I think I have an okay program for NPK, but I am still not understanding macronutrients 100%. Could you give me some pointers? I'm wanting to take the lawn to the next level. Thank you. I guess, what do you mean not understanding the macronutrients? So nitrogen, for overall plant health and fueling growth, nitrogen is really important. Phosphorus, you can think of it this way: nitrogen. How does the rhyme go? Nitrogen up helps with top growth. Although it does help with root growth too. Phosphorus down, and then K, potassium, all around. So up, down, and all around. So all three of them play a role in plant health. Yeah, so but the best way to know what you need is just do a soil test. If you have a soil test results and they say that you're deficient in phosphorus, then apply fertilizer with phosphorus. If it says you're deficient in potassium, then you apply fertilizer with potassium in it. So I'm not sure exactly what when you say for pointers. I would say do a soil test and then use a fertilizer that addresses the deficiencies based on what your soil test results are showing. That would be my recommendation for getting the most out of your fertilization program and knowing what blend of NPK is the right for your particular soil. That's what I would tell you. Okay, let's see here. Higgy Pop says, what do you recommend to wake up Bermuda lawn? I see some people putting out triple 10. To wake it up, I would, if you've not scalped it, mow it short. That would help. Triple 10, if your soil needs phosphorus, then that can work. I use 12024. So as far as what I use to start the season out, this is what I use to wake up my lawn at the beginning of the season. This is the first fertilization that I do from a granular standpoint, and it's the last fertilization I do from a granular standpoint in like October timeframe. Like this is what I roll with, mainly because my soil does not need phosphorus, so there's no reason to apply a triple 10. All right, so that's that would be it. Higgy Pop. All right, Nick Wren says, he says, thanks, I agree. I sent you a couple of pictures too. Again, I have no picture. Last pictures I have are from Scott and It's Me. He says, I have a few bare areas left from last year's irrigation issue. Would you wait to top dress until it fills in? 90% of my grass is coming in good. Not necessarily. I mean, if you're regular, this is the litmus test I would use. If you're regularly mowing your lawn, meaning at least once a week, you need to be mowing your grass, then you can top dress it. The areas that are maybe lagging behind a bit because of the irrigation work, if you want to go even lighter in those areas, that would be fine. But yeah, I mean, if you're mowing it regularly, you can top dress it. If you want to wait a few more weeks before you do so, that's going to be fine too. Again, we're still pretty early in the season as far as like lawn leveling and top dressing type work goes. Again, for most people, at least for warm season turf grass, I tell them wait until like early May. So if you want to wait till then, you should be in a pretty good spot over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Where as far as being ready to do some lawn leveling work. All right. All right, David Bloomfield is up next. He says, Zion Zoysia, I put Caravan G down 3 weeks ago and I got Headway G showing up on Saturday. So wait 4 weeks after Caravan to apply the Headway G, right? That's correct. That's right. So if you did Caravan 4 weeks later, you would do only the fungicide in the form of Headway G. You're doing it right, man. Nice job. Half the time I got to convince folks to not do Caravan twice. You're like, oh, I got Caravan, I'm just going to apply it twice. I'm like, no, please don't do that. Like, you don't need to double up on the insecticide. So you did it exactly right, David. You got your insecticide, you got your grub control done, and you got your fungicide, your initial fungicide app done, and now you're doing a second one 4 weeks later. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Just mow, keep your lawn, keep your equipment sharp, mow your lawn regularly, and you should be in great shape. All right, Andre Taylor's up next. He says, what's up, Ron? Happy Friday. Not mowing today, however, changing the oil, air filter, and backlap in the Revolution 20 with some 80 and then 120 grit. Now, tell me this is how you can tell someone's a lawn nerd, right? So he's like, I'm not 80 grit's not fine enough. I want to get that polished edge. I'm going to start with 80, rough it in, then we'll go to 120, kind of finish it off a little bit, make sure it's nice and pristine. So I get it, Andre. Your lawn always looks good, so I'm not going to argue with you at all. And it's a good program. You got the time to do it and you enjoy it, go for it. David Bloomfield says, what's wrong with having seed heads on a zoysia or any lawn? Just unsightly. People just don't like the way they look. That's all it is. I mean, I personally don't like the way seed heads look. They don't look great on a lawn. But as far as like hurting anything, they're not going to hurt anything. It's just a visual. It's visually just, most people just don't like the way they look. So yeah, and you can use growth regulator to suppress it to where you don't have nearly as many seed heads. So there's a way around that. Like another thing that people have to get messages about is about earthworm castings. Folks like saying, "No, I got earthworm casting. What should I do?" I'm like, nothing. Leave them alone. Like it's a sign of healthy soil. I know you don't like the way those look, but that's one thing that's kind of unsightly that I think the benefits way outweigh the negative, the unsightliness. Plus, if you're real mowing, like every time you get there to mow, you mash them down anyway, so it's not that big a deal. All right, but yes, to answer your question, David, there's not really any negative to it other than appearance. And let's face it, man, looking good is half of the game, right? Scott Smith is up next. He says, yes, Scott's makes an 18-inch 7-blade. The lower the height of cut, the more blades for a better cut. If not going below 2 inches, then go with the 5 blade. 7 blade will become hard to push with high grass. Great point, Scott. Great point. And then Scott's laying in on his thoughts on humic acid. He says humic feeds the microbes and break down nutrients to make them more readily available for root uptake. Well said. Well said. Mars Beast, man, it's been a while. What's going on? Because hey, I have to send you an email to let you know what's been happening in my world. Yeah, it's been for a while, Mars. It's so Mars, let me check, remember. You're Tennessee and you had the fescue lawn. Like you had like a septic system work or something like that done, and then you did like fescue. And I think you had some issue where you over fertilized and you thought you torched your lawn, but we kind of grew through it. Yeah, man, I remember there was like a little saga you had last year. So good. Glad to hear you're doing well. I guess a lot of crazy stuff's going on, but I mean, glad to see that you're back and saying hi. And if I can help with anything, let me know. Yeah, send me an email. Let me know what's going on. What's new? All right. Let's see here. Sheetmatic said Artemis just splashed out. That's cool. Yes, the guys made it back safe. Very, very nice. Very nice. That's kind of cool, right? So hopefully they get some more funding so they can actually go back to the moon, like go back properly, right? You know what I mean? So, to go in and taking the trip around, taking the little scenic route is cool. Hopefully that people are motivated to spend more money. It's interesting about that Sheetmatic. I know we're getting towards the end of the show. A lot of folks will say, it's crazy, we didn't go to the moon or whatever. It's kind of dumb that, whatever, dude, the whole moon thing was fake. I'm like, do you realize like how like when they went to the moon in like the 60s and 70s versus doing it now, like the amount of public support and money compared to now, like what that was, like I think it was something like the equivalent of like almost $300 billion was spent like in the like $200 billion in like today's money. So it's almost like 5% of GDP was spent like trying to get to the moon in the 60s and 70s, right? So you think about it, like think the Artemis mission, I think their funding was somewhere around like $2 billion. So think about it, $2 billion in like today's money just to go make for a little scenic route, a little joy trip around the moon versus $300 billion to go land someone there. So it's a big difference. You know what I mean? If you gave NASA or SpaceX, a third of $1 trillion, yeah, I'm pretty sure we get to the moon pretty quickly. But I mean, people don't have the appetite for that, I guess, right now. All right, next up is Gavin Moore. He says, hey, Ron, bought a new electric 21-inch SP mower, okay? Toro, 60-volt battery. It's Toro, gotta be good. Will be getting into the 80s and 90s next week. Should I start running my irrigation early in the morning, 1 or 2 days? Not a bad plan, not a bad plan. So here's the thing, Gavin. If you're not getting much rain, what I would say is you want to get out an inch or so of water per week. Mid-April, not a bad time to turn on your irrigation system. Don't overdo it. Remember, you went from like not watering at all for several months to now you're starting to introduce some water to it. So, I mean, twice a week should be just fine. And your irrigation system should be pretty, or your watering program should be pretty worked out by now. Because I mean, you've been doing this for a number of years now. So, like whatever, like what your lawn likes, and if now is the time to be giving it some water, I would go for that. There shouldn't be an issue with that at all. All right, should not be a problem at all. And then next up we got Maxwell Perry. I think our last comment of the evening, other than Mr. Dan Taylor, says thanks. I'm buying some for it right now. Appreciate that, Maxwell. And then our last comment of the evening comes from none other than Mr. Dan Taylor. He says, Ron, I put out some 12-0-24 last week. Should I plan to put out another application? If so, how long should I wait? Great question, Dan. So if you're following our program, what I recommend is granular every 4 weeks. So a granular fertilization app every 4 weeks at low rates, and then supplement that with a liquid app every 2 weeks. So if you're doing spoon feeding, which is what I recommend if you really want like the best option for your lawn, you do a granular fertilizer app, again, low rates, half pound of nitrogen thereabouts once a month, and then you spray liquids at low rates every couple of weeks. So if you did 12-0-24 last week, you're not going to do 12-0-24 until May. So you got like a month to wait before you put out more granular fertilizer. All right. So hopefully that helps. And then our last comment of the evening, this is from Mr. Melvin Otta. He says, I'm hoping to win the Real Rollers giveaway, the Revolution 26. They're giving away a 26. Sweet. Y'all definitely better go. I mean, I'm sure if I know Lee's, you'll probably be like, you gotta be present to win. So I would, definitely do that. That's if anything makes it worth a trip, that would make it worth it. All right. So yeah. Well, guys, gals, looks like that's all we have as far as comments this evening. Let me go ahead and cue the outro music as always. Next week's live stream will be earlier in the week. So I've got martial arts commitment next week, Friday night. So I will schedule it earlier in the week. Probably will be Thursday night, I'm thinking, is when it will be. Wednesday or Thursday night, more likely Thursday night. But I'll get it scheduled earlier in the week so you guys have plenty of time. And yeah, as always, if you guys are looking for an excellent assortment of fertilizer, fungicides, insecticides, weed killers to get rid of those weeds in your lawn, everything you need to create a lawn that your neighbors are absolutely going to envy, check us out at the Golf Course Lawn Store. We love the opportunity to be part of your lawn care journey. As always, thanks again for coming to hang out with me on a Friday night. I know there's other places you could be, and you guys chose to be here. So we'll see you guys next week. Again, probably Thursday night next week because of I got a thing on Friday night. Take care. Get out, do something fun on the lawn. Mow your grass.